Da-da-da, da-da-da. Alrighty, welcome to Sports Center Round 4 with Todd. Hashtag let's go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a great Tuesday. I'm going to wait here. Let's get a couple of viewers on here first, but I hope you had a great Tuesday. I'm sure everyone's finishing up dinner right now. And once they are done with dinner, they're going to hop on and talk about the hottest trending sport topics and some debates about some dynasties that I want to discuss. Which is the greatest dynasty in all of sports? I'm going to get into that with you guys. A couple other things we'll get into. Obviously, the NFL draft starts April 23rd, so it's coming up pretty soon. We're going to discuss where certain people should go. We'll obviously dive into both the Giants and the Jets because those are the teams that we root for around this area. There were some trades in the NFL. I do want to discuss that as well. In the NBA, like I mentioned last week, there were a couple things that the NBA and ESPN were doing to get some fans to engage and see the athletes and see what they're doing during these times. I think they're doing a tremendous job. I'm going to also talk about some things I think they should do that will engage the fans some more. The NCAA right now, it's a bit quiet, but there are a lot of graduate transfers that are making their decisions on what schools are going to attend for next year. So some schools are making some big-time moves right now. I'll give you updates on who is entering the NBA draft. We lost a great one in Major League Baseball today, not due to COVID-19, but a great guy in MLB family. Unfortunately, we lost today. We'll discuss that for a bit. And then I want to talk about some of the greatest dynasties of all time in sports. You think about the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, two-time three-peats. You talk about Shaq and Kobe, three-peats in LA. You talk about the Lake Show in the 80s. You talk about Tom Brady and the Patriots. You talk about the Yankees. So we'll discuss that and we'll break down which one is the best of all time. If you're new to this, guys, once again, happy Taco Tuesday. This is Todd Seidemann, Sports Center Round 4, believe it or not. Hashtag Let's Go, brought to you by JCC Metro West, Facebook Live, and Camp Dini Reback. I am going to be discussing the hottest and trending sport topics and going over some debates. So if you guys can please comment below anything you want to talk about in particular, I am more than happy to address with you. This is my favorite time of the week. Obviously, right now in the sporting world, there's not much going on. But to sit with you guys once a week for a half an hour and just to kind of block all the noise and discuss what we love, it's my favorite time of the week. So please join the party and let me know what you want to talk about. But let's dive right into it here. Let's get the party started. We're going to talk about one of the biggest trades this offseason in the NFL. The last couple weeks, I've talked about some big ones, obviously Tom Brady being, the headline. But let's talk about CMC, Christian McCaffrey from the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, this guy began his sensational career at University of Stanford. The running back was a Heisman Trophy candidate, just an absolute playmaker on the field. And we saw signs of it in college. I mean, people were comparing him to Reggie Bush. And if you're getting compared to Reggie Bush, his days at USC, I mean, you're definitely someone to look at. So he started early in college, made his way to Carolina as a first-round pick, and has been tremendous. And I'm not going to hate on anybody for ever getting money. If you're getting paid, that's excellent. But for a running back to be getting paid what he just got a couple days ago is a little questionable. So where I'm going with this is Christian McCaffrey just signed a 4-year, $64 million salary. So that's about $16 million annually, and for a running back, he is the highest paid running back of all time in history now. Now, if we look back throughout the past few years, signing a running back, especially for a lot of years and that amount of money, making him kind of your cornerstone, your guy for the next few years to carry your franchise, it's risky. We just saw it with Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley signed with the LA Rams. I think it was about 4 years. I'm not sure the exact amount of years, but I think he got about $45 million. Deserved it. The year before, he was tremendous. He was the best running back in the league. But last year, he got hurt. He was hurt, I think it was 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. Didn't really play much. Last year wasn't really productive, and now just got traded to the Atlanta Falcons because he's so questionable with injuries. A few years before that, Devontae Freeman was a great running back that came out of Florida State. went to the Atlanta Falcons, got a huge deal with a ton of money guaranteed, and we haven't really heard his name in the past few years. And now I don't even know if he's on the Atlanta Falcons anymore. So, yes, last year, Cowboys signed Ezekiel Elliott. Saquon Barkley is going to get his money. Christian McCaffrey deserves it, but the Panthers aren't a team with many weapons. He's your main guy. He's not really an ideal running back. He's more of like a flex. He catches a lot of passes. He can run north and south, east and west, however you want it. He's going to give it to you. But he's going to get a lot of hits. And to put that much on him, that much pressure on a young guy like that, I just hope. I mean, fingers crossed that he stays healthy, but I kind of feel like it's like the Madden curse if you play video games. Typically, whoever is on that cover, it's obviously well-deserved. They had a great year before, but the curse is that every year, once you get on that cover, the next year, your year in the NFL is not ideal. So I'm super happy for Christian McCaffrey. I love watching him play. Tremendous player, so much fun to watch, like I said, but that's a lot of money to give a running back who's, going to have a lot to take as far as hits and just having the ball in his hands at all time. I just hope he can produce and, show that he earns that money. So we'll see what happens there, but he got his money, very well deserved. And then obviously a lot of people have been talking about DeAndre Hopkins, how he got traded to the Arizona Cardinals. Still absolutely mind-boggling to me. I mean, top 3 wide receivers in the league, the best hands in the league. He gets traded, and everyone is absolutely ripping on Bill O'Brien. And deservingly so. I mean, listen, he's a head coach, but he's not a GM. Someone else has to make those decisions, and I feel like there was some type of beef between him and D-Hop or Deshaun Watson. I think there was just a lot going on, and I think he just kind of made a decision without really thinking and taking a step back, and I think that's going to really hurt him this year. However, they did go into the market, went to LA, and got a guy by the name of Brandon Cooks. Guys, Brandon Cooks, great wide receiver. I believe out of Oregon State, the Pac-12. I think he had time with the Saints. He had times with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Obviously, with the Rams. Great guy. Got paid a lot, too. So it's not like you're not, paying him at all. You have a lot of money to deal with there with Brandon Cooks. But if you're going to compare Brandon Cooks and DeAndre Hopkins, it's not even close. So, listen, he can be a number 1, but he's really more of a number 2. I mean, it makes Deshaun Watson somewhat happy, but, man, I feel bad for Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's one of the young, up-and-coming guys. You pair him right along with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, and to lose someone like that and to come back and, he's got to kind of start from the bottom and build that confidence back up because he's got, weapons and Kenny Stills and Fuller the fourth, but no one's D-Hop. So we'll see what Brandon Cooks can do, but it's going to be difficult to match DeAndre Hopkins and what he brings to the table because he's just top talent. Okay, NFL Draft, April 23rd to April 25th. So that's in 9 days. Super excited for it. This is pretty much the main sport event that we're getting within the past month. So I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said last week, it's going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, due to the times that we're living in right now, everything is pretty much virtual. So I'm pretty sure Roger Goodell is going to be doing the first round as usual, then passes it on to his people for the future rounds. But he's going to be doing the first round from his basement. I said that correctly. He's doing the first round picks from his basement. So let's just hope technology works and, everything kind of, fits its pieces and the puzzle, matches up. Because as far as making picks and talking to people and getting things in on time, it could be difficult. But Roger Goodell is going to be making the picks from his basement. I believe teams can have no more than 10 people in a room as far as front office, GM, head coach. And it's going to be something we've never seen. I do feel for the players who don't get that chance to really be in the spotlight. Like I said the last couple weeks, go across that stage and shake Roger Goodell's hands and, wear that nice fancy suit and, the watch and the necklaces and just have that moment for themselves because they've been working so hard on it. Yes, they're still going to be with their friends and family. They can have up to 10 people in their house or wherever they're going to be, but just a different type of feel. At the end of the day, they are living out their dream and playing in the NFL, so that's great for them. I'm super excited for them to have that moment. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait. I mean, the Jets have the 11th pick. Mel Kiper Jr. just came out with his mock draft 4.0 and some surprising things that have happened. We'll get into Jets and Giants and what I think they should do. Not much has really changed. I still think Giants are probably going to go with an offensive line. I think Jets are probably going to go O-line or wide receiver. I love Jerry Jeudy. I love the wide receivers in this draft. You give me Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs III from Alabama, I'm a happy camper. But we'll see. I think they might go O-line just to protect Sam Darnold, and the same thing with the Giants for Daniel Jones. But something crazy that Mel Kiper said today that really kind of caught me off guard. Tua from Alabama, Tagovailoa, probably did not get that last name right. I try and not say his last name or Giannis's last name because they're super hard to say. But if he never got hurt, I mean, guys, when he came in for Jalen Hurts in that championship game versus Alabama and had that game-winning touchdown to seal it and win the national championship game, I mean, he was the most talented quarterback in college football. And I really think if he didn't have these injuries, every single day on these sports shows, Sports Center, Get Up, First Take, whatever you're watching, Go Look and Wingo in the morning, it would be a serious debate on who would go number one, Joe Burrow or Tua. Yes, Joe Burrow probably had the best season any quarterback has had in college football history. I'm going to say that again, the best season in college football history. He really did. But Tua is so talented, and he slings that football. If he can just stay upright, I think he's right there. And it's difficult because the Miami Dolphins have not had successful seasons recently. And I think for them, it's going to be too hard to let him slip and go away. I think you kind of just have to take the chance at this point. Because if you don't take him and he ends up being, an elite quarterback for 10, 15 years and carries a franchise and just gets one Lombardi trophy, I mean, you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life. That's not going to be easy. But going back to what Mel Kiper said, he actually has Justin Herbert going 5th to the Dolphins and Tua 6th to LA, the Chargers, which I thought was interesting. If you guys remember, Justin Herbert could have gone to the draft a year before and was probably going to be the number one pick. He didn't slip much. Obviously, still a top 10 guy. Showed a lot of upside at Oregon. They're saying he's going to go to the Dolphins at 5. Burrow, obviously, going to the Cincinnati Bengals, And then you got the LA Chargers taking Tua now. So we'll see what happens. That's 3 quarterbacks in the top 10. And then a lot of people still have hopes for this Jordan Love guy out of Utah State, I believe. Didn't hear much about him, but the last week or so, people have been saying a lot of good stuff about him. You got a team like the Packers. It sounds crazy, but Aaron Rodgers is getting up there in age. He's got a couple more years. You got the Patriots. I mean, listen, they're high on this guy, Jarrett Stidham from Auburn. I'm not going to hate on Belichick. He knows what he's doing, obviously, but I don't think you can go into spring training with just him. I think you need someone else. So maybe Jordan Love goes there. Maybe they pick up Cam Newton in the offseason. We'll see what happens, but I thought that was very interesting with the mock draft, how they had Herbert over Tua. A lot can go on. I think Detroit at 3 is a very interesting pick there. I think they may trade. I think it's a lock that Joe Burrow and Chase Young go 1 and 2. But a guy like Tua in Detroit, Matt Stafford, great career. Numbers, Hall of Fame, but I don't think he's going to get there just off of numbers. Let him go somewhere like New England, potentially, or LA, and finish out his career where he can win somewhere. Start fresh, bring Tua into Detroit. Detroit is begging for a winning team. It's been forever. So I can see Tua going to Detroit, but a lot of trades are going to happen. I don't think Jacksonville is 100%, set on Gardner Minshew. Yeah, he had a great rookie year. Everyone was loving his mustache, which I got going right now as well. We'll talk about that later. But I'm not set on him yet as a franchise guy, so maybe Jacksonville takes a quarterback as well. We'll see. It's going to be super exciting. A lot's going to go down in these next 9 days, and next week we'll have a couple days before the draft where we can really break it down and solidify where we think people are going. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Chase Young. Chase Young is an absolute stud. It's honestly unreal what Urban Meyer does with Ohio State. I mean, these defensive line, the Bosa brothers, Chase Young, I mean, these dudes are freaks, absolute freaks. 6'4", 250 plus. I mean, the speed, just the position they have, the way they get in and out of the line and just get to the quarterback, it's tremendous. These guys are stud athletes, and Ohio State keeps on getting them, and they come to the league and they produce, and I don't think that's going to change. I mean, Chase Young, Defensive Rookie of the Year. You heard it here first, people. NBA. So we talked about this last week. the NBA's been trying their hardest to get the fans and the players engaged with one another, and I love what they're doing. Like, it's great. But I don't think it went as well as it should have. They did the NBA 2K tournament. It was interesting. It was a matchup between two players. So, for example, DeAndre Ayton of the Phoenix Suns played Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls, and you were watching them play the video game, and then there was pictures of each one of them on the top corners of the TV, and they were kind of talking to each other as the game was going on. Some people were really engaging and talking to one another, so it was kind of cool to see what they were up to during this time, and they were trash talking while playing, which was pretty exciting. And then there were some other matchups where they were just really playing the game and not talking. So, listen, on a Saturday night, I'm not trying to watch two people play a video game unless it's entertaining and they're bringing something to the table. So, wasn't too into that unless it was a good matchup. But Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns, which I'm not surprised, he's a gamer all the way through. He ended up facing DeAndre Ayton in the finals and won. If you guys play 2K or if you follow the NBA players, Devin Booker is known for playing video games, and he ran through that tournament. So congratulations to D-Book. And then this past week, they started the horse tournament, which was really interesting. So obviously, you're probably wondering, how do you play horse if you're not at the same place? It was all virtual, obviously. A lot of these players bring in a lot of money, so they had, they have courts at their house, weight rooms, etc. So there were a couple players that played. So Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot from the Detroit Pistons, hopefully a future Hall of Famer, faced off against Trae Young and beat the young stud himself. You had Zach LaVine playing Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce, as you can see if you watched, was a little out of shape, but he has a beautiful home in California. That was something that was really cool. So you kind of see where these players live. Mike Conley Jr. has like an insane gym that's like the size of a house with 3 basketball hoops in it. Paul Pierce had like a bowling alley. Zach LaVine had a insane basketball court in his backyard. Then a day later proposed to his now fiance. So congratulations to the 2-time slam dunk champ Zach LaVine. But that was really cool. They're going to continue that on Saturday with the semifinals. But I think one thing the NBA should do, I think it would be really cool, is to have a group of like elite guys. I'm talking like Chris Paul, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, Jokic, the All-Stars, get together and do like a Zoom conference call and discuss dynasties like we're going to do in a little bit, the greatest of all times. I think it would be really cool to get a take from the players. I know we always have these debates, like when we're on SportsCenter with Todd, or if you're watching on TV, everyone always debates, like who's better, MJ or LeBron, or who's the best baseball team, who's the best defender, who's the best three-point shooter. You can debate about anything in sports, and it's so much fun to do. But if you can get the actual players to do it, I think that'd be really cool to get that insight. You see LeBron as he does this show Uninterrupted, and you see Rich Kleiman and Jay Williams do the boardroom, and they have guest appearances like Kevin Durant. I think that'd be really cool. I feel like Chris Paul and LeBron, 2 well-respected guys in the NBA, I feel like they can set that up, get some type of conference call, and discuss those topics. I think it'd be really cool just to see their insight and what they have on that discussion. Major League Baseball, we lost a great one. George Steinbrenner's son, I want to get the name right here, I apologize. Hank Steinbrenner died at 63 years old. It wasn't related to COVID-19. Partner and chairman for the New York Yankees, so rest in peace. It's a sad loss. Obviously, Yankees are the most prestigious team probably in all of sports, and he oversaw the organization. Died at 63 years old, so definitely way too young. Claudia, what's going on? My program director at Camp Dini Reback. Guys, if you are people that like to work out, Claudia and her family do great shows once a week, so you can watch that. Steelers mock draft opinion. Yeah, so actually, I think they're probably going to go with a quarterback. I think someone, like I said before with Aaron Rodgers, he's a couple years left. I think it's the same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. I'd say he's got 2 years left, if that. So maybe a guy like Jordan Love, they trade up and get him. I know there's a quarterback out of Washington. I think his last name's Eason. I heard he may be available for the Steelers, but I think the Steelers can definitely use a backup. Mason Rudolph, I don't know. He showed some signs last year. Had a pretty intense concussion. Obviously, the whole incident with Myles Garrett. So I'm not really sure what he could bring to the table if he's the answer. We'll see. Guys, please comment below. If anything you want to talk about, I'm more than happy to. But if nothing's coming up, I do want to talk about dynasties and discuss some of the greatest dynasties in sports. We're going to start with the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to bring this up every single time. If you are a basketball fan, next week, The Last Dance, it's a documentary, 10-part documentary with the Chicago Bulls. I think it's something you should definitely watch. It's going to be incredible. It's going to give you all the insight, inside, outside of the locker room, all good stuff. I think you should definitely watch. They're one of the best teams ever assembled. 3-peat twice. And this is in between Michael Jordan playing professional baseball. He played professional baseball for 2 years, came back, and then won 3. So they're definitely a dynasty I think that a lot of people should say is the best of all time. Then you got the Yankees, 96, 98, 99, and 2000. 4 out of 5 years they won. That's pretty special. Scott Brosius, Derek Jeter, Chuck Knobloch, Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, El Duque, Shane Spencer, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams. The list goes on and on. That was my childhood. The Patriots. This is something that's interesting that I saw today, and I keep on forgetting about it. Tom Brady won in 2002, 2004, 2005. The next Super Bowl he won was in 2015. 10 years. And he went back, and after those 10 years, won 3 more. That's ludicrous. That is absolutely insane. So the Patriots are someone for sure that you look at. And then you got the Warriors. I mean, just to be relevant, the last 3 or 4 years, they were something special. So, guys, comment below. Let me know what you think out of those 3 to 4 dynasties, what you think. Give me 1 second. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, 70 Steelers, obviously. I'm a little too young for that one, but 70 Steelers was obviously a great team. Something else I looked up today that I thought was pretty interesting. Obviously, we just lost a great one in Kobe Bean Bryant. 20 years with one organization, 2 jersey numbers retired. I don't think you're ever going to see that one again. I looked at his stats from when he was number 8 versus number 24. When he was number 8 All-Star appearances. When he was 24, 10 All-Star appearances. When he was number 8, he was a one-time scoring champion. When he was 24, he was a one-time scoring champion. When he was number 8, 3 rings, 24, 2 rings. Total points with number 8, 16,866. With number 24, 16,777. I mean, those numbers are pretty much identical. So to have that consistency for 20 years, keep in mind, he played with broken fingers. He tore his Achilles, I think, the second to last year, came back, dropped 60 in his last game. I mean, it's insane. The guy was unreal. I thought it was just really cool to look at, to see just the consistency he had for 20 straight years, keeping his body in shape and just giving it, day in and day out. That was that Mamba mentality. I think it's great if any adults are watching right now for your kids. I think it's super important to have that Mamba mentality. Never give up. Have that killer instinct in anything you do in life, sports or just in your job or everyday life, just to always give it 110%. And Kobe was the one that did that. And now you see all the tributes for Kobe Bryant. You see these young players getting tattoos to remember him, and a lot of other things. So Kobe was magical. He was something that was so much fun to watch, and just to see the accolades that he had throughout those 20 years consistently, year in and year out, was incredible. Little sister loves the Warriors. I mean, what's not to love? I mean, as far as a shooting backcourt, that's the best shooting backcourt in NBA history. I would love for someone to argue that with me. I would say they're 2 of the top 5 greatest shooters of all time, and they're in the same backcourt. So Klay Thompson, I think, honestly, the best pure shooter ever. His form is just beautiful to watch. Steph Curry, I mean, transcendent player, literally changed the game. No one shoots layups and mid-range shots anymore. Any kid that goes outside in their parking lot or by their garage to shoot hoops is shooting 30-footers because Steph Curry's doing that. So, and then they added a guy like Kevin Durant. I mean, what else could you ask for? There's only one ball, and they had to share it. And I was curious when Kevin Durant got traded to the Warriors how they were going to do that, but they made it work, and they won 2 straight with Kevin Durant, with him being Finals MVP 2 times. And guys, I mean, yes, Klay Thompson was hurt this year. Steph Curry was hurt, but Steph Curry, I think, is 31. Klay Thompson's 30. Draymond Green's 30. And let's keep in mind, they're going to have a top 5 pick in the draft this year, so they're not going anywhere. Of course, they weren't who they were this year, but they'll be back, and they're still going to be competing for titles. Yeah, 49ers. Obviously, I was a little biased and kept to my time. I'm 29 years old, so you got the 70 Steelers, you got the 49ers with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. You can even talk about the Cowboys when they won it with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. What else do we got here? Yeah, guys, definitely comment below. Let me know what you want to talk about. But there's so many dynasties. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Celtics. The Celtics and Lakers, I mean, took over the NBA in the 80s. And then at the end of the 80s, you had the bad boys of the Pistons until Michael Jordan, put his mark down as the greatest player of all time. In the 90s was owned by the Bulls. And a lot of people say if he never went to play baseball, they could have won 8 in a row. So I think it's great how you have different generations and different dynasties. Some people think dynasties are bad for sports, but I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, it's great when other teams, underdogs come and win, but it is cool to see, dynasties form and to see players, hurdle over other players. I mean, records are meant to be broken. So, no one ever thinks we're going to see another Michael Jordan. Who knows? Speaking of that, I'm a huge basketball guy. This guy by the name of Imani Bates, he's a sophomore in high school and just won the National Gatorade Player of the Year as a sophomore, the first one ever to do that. So that means LeBron or MJ or any of those guys never did it before. He had a 62-point and 21-rebound performance this year. That's unheard of. 6'9", silky smooth shot, mid-range, three-point, attacks the basket, literally has a Kevin Durant body. And I think by the time he's a senior, which is in 2 years, I think he'll be able to go straight to the pros. So you're going to see that a lot now, guys. As I mentioned earlier in the show, a lot of transfers, a lot of graduate transfers are transferring, but there's a lot of commits also from high school that are decommitting. A guy by the name of Isaiah Todd, 5-star recruit, decided to go play at Michigan and decommitted and is looking to play overseas for a year. So there's a lot of guys, that don't come from the greatest backgrounds and want to make money as soon as possible. So they decide to go play in Australia or Europe, sign a 1 year, $1 to $1.5 million contract and then declare for the NBA draft, similar to what LaMelo Ball is doing this year. So I think we're going to see that a lot more for sure. Rachel Gordon, nice to show up. We got 4 minutes here. Ray Allen is also very good. Of course. Listen, when you're thinking of three-point shooters, you got the Splash Brothers. You definitely throw Ray Allen in there. You definitely throw Reggie Miller in there. I think an underrated guy that sometimes you don't hear is Kyle Korver. I'm not saying he's an all-star. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but just a pure knockdown shooter, I feel pretty comfortable. It's going to go in 50% of the time. An Arizona Wildcat, Steve Kerr. I mean, I think he shot like 52% from three the year they won it in 97-98. Don't quote me on that, but a great three-point shooter. I think that's something that would be cool too, right? So for the NBA, why don't they do a slam dunk contest and do that virtual? I think that'd be awesome. Aaron Gordon can finally win one, even though he already has 2 that have been stolen from him. Do a slam dunk contest. Do a three-point shootout. Do a skills challenge. Do a mini all-star weekend on TV. I think there's so many things they can do, and I think it needs to get done as soon as possible. Like they did with The Last Dance, bringing that to April 19th. I think the Michael Jordan documentary will be great for fans to watch. But we got to bring some more things on TV. I can't watch cornhole on TV. I can't do it. I can't watch people playing video games on TV. We need to bring sports back into it, and there's some ways we can do it. We just have to be creative. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Yeah, so Rachel, you didn't miss too much. I didn't talk too much about baseball. That's not really ever going to change. But guys, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on the NFL draft. There's about 4 or 5 offensive linemen that are probably going to be taken in the top 10. So that's why I'm a little hesitant with the New York Jets on where they're going to go. I think if there is an offensive line that's top 4 or 5, we'll probably just take him because our offensive line was horrendous, so we need to get someone to block for Sam Darnold. But I really want Jerry Jeudy. I mean, if you guys type in his highlights on YouTube, his route running is ridiculous. I mean, he makes defenders fall flat on their tush. So I would love to have him in New York playing at MetLife. CeeDee Lamb's another top talent. Henry Ruggs. These are, guys I mentioned before, but I think they would be tremendous for the Jets, so I hope we get them. All right, guys, so that is 30 minutes. It does go very quickly. If you guys comment below, I'll be happy to answer questions this week. Think about questions. Comment next week. I'll be back. I'm not sure if it's going to be 7 or 8, but always a pleasure chatting with you guys. Please stay safe out there, and we'll see you for round 5 next week. Peace.